Gather close, my friends, and let your breaths mingle with the night air, for I will spin for you the tale of the white snake, a story of love that defied mortal bounds and of mercy that challenged heaven's own laws. In a time when ancient temples stood sentinel over mist-wreathed lakes, there lived a humble herbalist named Xu Xian. He was a man of simple tastes, his life measured by the rhythm of dawn's first light and the hush of lanterns reflected upon rippling waters. Each day he would ply his remedies beneath the great willow bridge, trading drafts of ginseng tea and elixirs of chrysanthemum for the coin to keep his tiny shop alight. One spring morning, when the air was rich with the scent of plum blossoms, a woman of ethereal beauty drifted into his life. She moved as if she were the moon's own daughter, her robes ivory as newly fallen snow, and her hair trailing like river reeds upon the breeze. With a lilt of laughter, she asked for a cup of tea to calm her restless heart. Xu Xian, unprepared for such grace, bowed low and poured. Their eyes met across the pottery bowl, and in that moment, two souls, one mortal, one immortal, were forever entwined. She introduced herself as Madame Bai, a traveler seeking solace from a long journey. Each day she returned to Xu Xian's side, a shared meal beneath the willow tree, soft conversations that bridged the chasm between human and divine, and the laughter that rose like petals upon the breeze. The villagers whispered of the miracle of their union, a match so perfectly balanced that even the koi fish paused in their dance to witness the pair. But beneath her gentle smile, Madame Bai harbored a secret forged by centuries of moonlight. For she was not human at all, but Bai Suzhen, the white snake spirit, who had taken mortal form to taste the sweetness of love. In the jade-green depths of the lake, her sisters had warned her, "Return to the waters, for you walk among men, and risk a fate dark as the bottomless abyss." Yet Bai Suzhen's heart, pulsating with newfound longing, beat resolutely for the mortal realm. All might have remained disguised, save for one man whose heart knew no joy at the thought of bridging heaven and earth. Fa Hai, a monk of the Jinshan Temple, saw through Bai Suzhen's silken facade and perceived her scales glinting like mother of pearl beneath her robes. His voice, stern as temple bells, thundered across the water one dawn. "Withdraw, spirit. Lay down your illusions and return to the void you sprang from, or face the law of heaven." Terrified, Xu Xian confronted his beloved, only to discover the truth as Bai Suzhen revealed her alabaster skin and curved form. He recoiled at first, his world upended by the impossible. But when her tears fell, each a crystal of remorse and love, he saw not a monster, but the woman whose kindness had healed his loneliness. He reached for her hand, and in that single touch, the boundaries between human and spirit were swallowed by something far older: compassion. Enraged by their union, Fa Hai stormed the temple gates to cleanse the world of this forbidden love. He unleashed prayers that crackled like lightning, binding Bai Suzhen in coils of iron that glowed with sacred fire. The air trembled as Xu Xian pleaded for mercy, but the monk, believing he served the higher law, dragged Bai Suzhen to the summit of Jinshan Peak and cast her into the deep temple well. In that moment, the sky wept torrents of rain. The villagers watched in horror as waters swelled into a raging flood, lapping at the temple steps, threatening to drown every lantern and shrine. From the well's dark mouth rose a roar that shook the mountain, for Bai Suzhen, fueled by the injustice against her love, had unleashed her true power. Waves surged like mountains, and the river escaped its banks in a river of moonlight and foam. Xu Xian, his heart torn between man and spirit, raced into the storm. With every step, he cried her name, his voice swallowed by the gale. When he reached the foot of the peak, he fell to his knees and offered his life in exchange for hers. His plea, pure and fierce, struck the very heavens with its sincerity. The flood paused, as if the world itself held its breath. Moved by mortal devotion, the Jade Emperor yielded. The floodwaters receded, and Bai Suzhen emerged from the well, freed from her bonds yet bearing the marks of Fa Hai's wrath. Her form now half monster, half woman, scales glimmering upon her wrists and ankles. With Xu Xian's hand in hers, she knelt upon the mossy stones, her tears watering the fallen petals of the temple's lotus pond. There at the edge of daybreak, the world witnessed an impossible reconciliation. Fa-Hai, his robe sodden and his heart awakened, realized that love, no matter its form, could not be cleansed by iron or fire. With reluctant grace, he cast aside his prayers of banishment. Love, he whispered, is the greatest magic, and even the immortal must bow to its truth. So Bai Suzhen and Xu Xian returned to the willow-lined shore, where they raised a family of children who played in sunlit ripples and chased will-o'-the-wisps across the marshland. And the villagers, once bound by fear, learned to call her Madam White, healers and protectors of the people, her elixirs bringing health to the young and old alike. Even today, if you cross the Great Willow Bridge when the moon is full, you might glimpse a silvery figure drifting across the water's edge and hear the soft laughter of a mortal and a spirit in love. Remember, my friends, that the boundaries between worlds are thin as mist, and that compassion can melt the hardest laws of heaven. For the story of the white snake teaches us that love, in its purest form, is the most divine of all transformations, and that in every heart, no matter how mortal or mythical, burns the same light.